House Speaker Kevin McCarthy on the White House's attempt to influence coverage of his Biden impeachment inquiry. Earlier today, the Biden administration sent out a memo to several major media organizations, including right here at Fox News. And the memo calls for outlets to scrutinize the House impeachment inquiry and their coverage. The government telling media organizations what to do. In some countries, you'd call it propaganda, but here it's the Biden administration. Quote, "It's time for the media to ramp up its scrutiny of House Republicans for opening an impeachment inquiry based on lies." And here's Speaker Kevin McCarthy just moments ago.
I think the investigation is really concerning to me that the president, the White House, is telling the press what to say. I think the press should be wanting to know the answers, too. Did the president know when he went to dinner with his son that he would get a Porsche? Did he know when the son was selling the brand that when he was talking and using an email address that wasn't his own name so people couldn't find it? Did he know when he was talking about the president for Ukraine, was that in referring to his son serving on the Burisma board with the prosecutor coming after them? Did he know his son was selling the brand was him? Those are the questions I think people want to know.
What about
So it sounds like the Biden administration telling the media to do their bidding, Douglas. Once upon a time, there was an election and there was a laptop. And I'm talking 2020, I'm talking Hunter Biden's laptop. And there was a campaign called the Biden campaign that orchestrated a letter from 51 intel officers. Mike Morrell, former deputy director of the CIA, who was on the Biden campaign, was the impetus for it because Biden needed a talking point in the presidential debate. Biden campaign advisors like Andrew Bates, Antony Blinken all helped to coordinate it. A CIA official allegedly solicited signatures. They were instructing the intel community what to do. It sounds like now they're instructing the media.
It's amazing, isn't it? The gall of the Democrats in the last 24 hours. I mean, first of all, of course, the reaction of people like Chuck Schumer, just outraged that anyone would use such a device from the mouth of somebody who's been using precisely such a device throughout his political career against his opponents. But yes, I mean, the problem is not the media not looking into this enough. The problem is the media hasn't looked into it, most of the media in this country. You know, it's only now that papers like the New York Times and the Washington Post are catching their readers up to things they should have known about 3 years ago. You know, so the gall of the administration saying to the media, you need to look into this. Yes, the media does need to look into this. It should have been looking into it for years. And to the extent that there are still about 40% of people in this country who don't know about this story, that 40% should know about it.
Well, let's talk about the evidence. We can give the media something to dig into here if they decide to all of a sudden cover the Hunter story and the Biden story. So the White House says there's no evidence. That's Ian Sams. That's their spokesperson. But Harris, the House Oversight Committee, says otherwise. Take a look at this scroll. We put together a 20-part scroll just to review a few here. 20 Biden phone calls with business partners, 2014 dinner with business partners, 2015 dinner, coffee with business associate Jonathan Lee. The list goes on. 80 visits from the business associates to the White House. This is what we call evidence.
Yeah, so, you know, you'd have to put the liberal media on loop in order to get their viewers to see most of what we're seeing in our coverage all the time. And that is just simply the truth about an investigation, 3 of them that are GOP-led, that they need to have their eyes and ears open to if they're going to vote in November of 2024. You're talking about misinformation that might sway votes. Well, we have a history with that in this country. You mentioned Hunter's laptop. I'd say those classified documents that were found a couple days before the midterms that ended up to be like an Easter egg hunt in Joe Biden's houses and the Penn Center at a university and all that classified stuff that we didn't know about until 4 or 5 months later. But they were found a couple days before that election midterm year 2022. So this is a problem that we have in this country. And the best way to do it is to just